ahead and get started. So welcome to the monthly Manos. This is July's monthly Manos, and we're highlighting Alma.
Yay.
I did some fun, fancy display work here. Our Alma rack is the very bottom one of our hanging racks, so it was hard to display that way. So I did some fun little color stories on our mannequins here. This is just a small sampling of all the colors that Alma comes in. It is a fairly new yarn, so it's not an extensive color range, but they've been adding to it more and more each year. And we'll go through the colors, the whole list on the website here in a few minutes. But this way you just get an idea of some of the colors. There's a range. You've got these fun pastel things. And we've got some nice tonal, moody stuff. And again, some more of these fun, bright colors. So, you know, anywhere from this pastel, lovely space dyed colors. And then their classic, you know, their tonals where it's mostly one color, but it's got some variegation. Alma is a single ply, 100% superwash merino. It's very thin and plump. It's probably more of a light fingering weight, so you get a lot of yardage per skein. It's 545 yards per one skein of the Alma, and it's very soft, very drapey, perfect for accessories, which I'm going to show you a lot of accessories today. Really nice, beautiful stuff, lightweight, airy, just enough for that kind of spring, early summer accessories. 33 per skein. We also have a color. This is called Espiritu. And this is a small batch collection. There's also one similar done in Alegria. That one's called Fabulosa. And so this one, you can only get these colors here in our shop. And once they're gone, they are gone. So if this plucks your heartstrings, make sure you grab one before they go away. And these skeins are 34 each instead of 33. But the rest of them, for the semi-solids and the space sides, those are going to be 33 a skein. And so, yeah, those are on, it's a range because, like I said, it's fairly thin and it's single ply, so it plumps up. So they suggest a US 1 to 4. So you've got a range there as far as how tight or loose you want to knit it. But it's fairly thin, so that contributes to all the yardage. I think I'll go ahead and show you more of the colors online. Share my screen. This one. All right. Oh, that's a sneak peek. Don't look at that one yet. So here are all of the Alma colors on our website. So you can see I just had a small sampling up on the mannequins. They've got quite a nice little range. I love these. Some of these are the newer colors. And they've got some really fun tropical pops. And the other thing I like about these yarns, and it played into what I named the kits after, is the names of the colors are really fun and interesting. So, you know, it's passion and empathy and charity and motivation and hope and positivity, serenity, enthusiasm, respect. So they've got all these great emotional descriptors, kindness and courage and inspiration. And I think that's lovely. So like I said, it's not a huge collection. It is one of their newer yarns, but they're ever expanding. And you can find, everybody can find a color in here that they like. They've got, you know, they run the color wheel gamut. So you won't feel left out. And let's see. So that's the Alma yarn. Let's get to the patterns.
Yeah, it is a great color range. And oddly enough, Espiritu shows up first because it's the best-selling color.
Ah, very nice. Fun. Yeah, I think we still have a decent selection yet, but don't wait. So yes, like I said, I brought in a bunch of accessories. This is it is a single ply. It is a thin yarn. You're not going to want to make something hard wearing. You're not going to want to make a sweater out of it. You can, but you're going to get a lot of pilling. It'll be more delicate. You wouldn't want to, you're not going to wear it around gardening in the yard. So it's ideal for little accessories, hats, scarves, shawls. Um, you could do, little arm warmers, something that you're looking for something lightweight and warm, but it's not going to get a lot of wear and tear because it won't hold up super well to wear and tear, but it's beautiful, drapey, and lovely in other things. So this is, let's maybe angle this down a bit. This is called Facelia, assuming I'm saying that correctly. And what's funny is was interesting. This is a different colorway than the model they show on the thing. So this was a bit of a surprise. But what I like about this surprise is the kits I made were solid colors. I was riffing off of what they did with their models, where they kind of took, a darker color, let's say a darker red, and then they went with the lighter pink. So kind of staying in on one color chip, we'll say, and doing the extreme ends of that color chip. So that's what I riffed off for the pattern, the kits I made. This one is going outside of that box. And I like that because it'll show you what it looks like to pair a variegated color with a solid color that you can pick up. You can either do a high contrast, because this green is not really in that color, but it goes with it. Or, you could very easily, you could find, this kind of lavender color to make your stripes out of. And how you make this, I think it's better to get the full effect if we can. It's a nice, big, generous shawl. This pattern comes with 2 patterns in one. You can make a shawl or you can make a scarf, and I'll show you the scarf in a second. But what they're doing is they're taking their 2 colors and they're making short rows. And so they kind of blend and bleed into each other. And I think that's a really fun concept.
That's such a beautiful design.
It's really neat. Yeah. And I actually really enjoyed, like I said, I think this is pretty, but I really enjoyed that they did a tonal piece in their original models. But of course you can play with it however you want. So that's Facelia. That's the shawl version of Facelia. And let me show you the scarf version. And with the scarf version, so this is 2 skeins of each color. So a total of 4 skeins for this one. The scarf is just 1 skein of each. And then you also have enough left over to make little tassels. Look at those.
Everything's better with tassels.
Everything's better with tassels. And I love that they play with the color. They've got the color play there. So you're doing your opposites. So this is the scarf. It's the same idea, just a little longer. And obviously much narrower. And you can wear, as usual, you can wear your scarf all kinds of ways. The tassels are tassels are a great little addition. It's fun. Short rows. Let me show you any questions or you want to see anything up front. I'll show you the kits I made online. Simple garter stitch. Anyone can do this. Also, the short rows are your most basic short rows. So you're just going to kind of turn around and go. Well, it's a wrap and turn, but because you're doing garter, you don't really see it. I mean, you could, I'm pulling it apart so you can see it there, but as you're wearing it. So the very simple, straightforward, clear instructions for the wrap and turn, very easy. So if you haven't done short rows yet, don't be afraid, you can do them. And let's go back to our.
And I bet if you preferred fringe versus tassels, you could do that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, because the tassels are pretty plump. So you've got a lot of extra yarn to work with. So this is the original. That was the model I was expecting to get, but we got the other one. But so I made a kit for this one. If you really like the model we got in, obviously I can help. I can get you those colors, or you've got your own colors. You want me to help you pick something out? We can do that. So let's look at the kits. There's the pattern if you just want the pattern. Here are the kits I made. You can choose, so the sizes here, because the skein quantities are different, so make sure you choose which one you want. The pattern is the same, but the skein quantities will be different. So this is the scarf or the shawl, and it's the same color combos for all of them. So this is model A. That's that combo, which was the scarf combo. Model B, this lovely lavender and this nice neutral. And then we've got, yes, so the story behind these kits and the other kits I made for the Linden shawl. I chose revolutionary and history making women. So for these ones, it's Sojourner Truth, Mary Wollstonecraft, Olympe de Gouges, and Kijin. Assuming I pronounced those correctly, I'm so sorry if I did not. Historical women. So I love that these women, they're about embodying these things, the truth, the motivation, the resilience, the hope, all these wonderful characteristics that these yarns are made out of, these women shown throughout history with those ideals. And I really enjoyed that. So this is Truth, after Sojourner Truth, Mary Wollstonecraft. And so again, as I said, I was riffing off their original, where they're kind of playing in a tonal idea and not doing it. It's high contrast, but it's not, we're sticking in the same kind of color palette. Like I said, we're on the same color chip, just at opposite ends of it, to some degree, obviously. Whoops. So I was going, you go for a dark and then a light. And there's Mary. This is a beautiful blue. William. I love that this is, there's a lot of depth to this. I wouldn't call it black, but it's their darkest version, and it's really nice. It's interesting. And this very kind of sophisticated gray lavender. And this one is fun. I love this one. This is a beautiful color. It's actually pretty well represented here on the screen. And then this bright fun pop thing, that's just exciting. But if this is too much for you, this will tone it down a bit. And it is, again, it's an accessory, so you can throw it over with anything and you don't have to worry about having a bright pink jacket. It's just a little accessory, maybe peeking out of your nice calm jacket. All right. So
You're right. A lot of people, I think, forget that it's okay for your accessory to really pop.
Yes.
Because so many of us tend to wear, neutrals and, especially jackets, tend black colors and
you get the black or the gray because you don't want to worry about spilling things on it, or you want it to go with everything. So you get something, I don't want to say plain, but yeah, it's usually pretty muted. And so this is a great way. Or if you're not too sure about a color, you want to try out a color, maybe I'm a teal person and you don't want to buy a full wardrobe of teal. Well, you just make a little teal scarf and see how you like it. That's Cecilia. And again, you get both of these patterns in the one pattern, if that makes sense. That's the Alma. And let's see. Ooh, let's do these ones, these little whirligigs. I love these little whirligig things. So this is called Vulcan. Yeah, it doesn't want to. This is one skein. It's this adorable, slinky, ruffly, tubey thing. And it's a cowl. And you can keep knitting for days if you want to make it longer, and it scrunches up nicely around your neck. You can also, we've had a couple customers cast on a few more repeats to make it wider. So it'll maybe cover more of your shoulders, maybe hang down a bit more, or if you want to adjust it for a different yarn. But of course, you want to make it out of Alma. And this is just one skein. It looks complicated, but it just increases and decreases to create this little ruffle ruched bit. And you got these nice, easy garter panels in between, simple stockinette. And you just go around doing your little repeats. I like to use, you don't have to finish it fancy because it does its own little ruffle thing. I like to use stitch markers so I really don't have to think about it. You just come to your stitch marker and you do a thing. You get to the next stitch marker and you do a thing and you don't have to think about it. You don't know counting stitches. And you get this great little cowl. And so we, they sent us one. And then we also have our own in the shop where we used the special colorway. And so you can see how that knits up, which is fun. So, you know, do it in a semi-solid or do it in a variegated. I think, is this technically inside out? No, there's no inside out or right side. This is a right side. I like. So, and it works because it's all about that fun little ruching and just squishy softness around your neck. And because it's the Alma, it is light and airy and drapey, and it's not going to be too heavy around your neck, and it's not going to be too warm. So that is the Vulcan. Yeah, it's a free pattern on Ravelry. Just one little skein. You do it on a US 5, so you're going to open up those stitches, and it's going to be really drapey. So even though it's a thin yarn, you don't have to be afraid, you know, you're not going to be working on teensy little tubes.
And I'm trying to type the names of the patterns into the chat feature.
Oh, thank you. That way one of us is organized.
That's okay. You're doing like 4 things, so I figure I could maybe do one.
All right. This shawl, Monophora. And it's 2 colors. No, I lied. 3 colors. 3 colors, 1 skein of each. And a lot of what they were doing when they came out with the yarn, the Alma yarn, they were focusing on simple ways to play with color. So it's, you know, you can obviously do color work, but they wanted to do nice, simple stuff. So we're talking stripes, interesting stitches, and slip stitches. So they're not hard, but they add some interest. They look kind of fancy. They add texture. They help bleed one yarn, one color into another. And this one's really fun. This is a top down. It's got I-cord edges. There's another one that has I-cord edges, and which is really nice because you carry your yarn colors up the side and you hide the tails in your little I-cord edge. So not only is it finished nicely, but your little tails are easy to hide, which is fun. We like that. We like easy.
That's great.
Yeah,
I
so
love
asymmetrical fringe. Yay! As you can see, you've got some interesting shaping. It's not a typical triangle. It's an asymmetrical, oh, kind of a crescent triangle, top down. And yes, all of these stitches, Manos patterns are they've got really nice instructions. We usually don't have any problem with Manos patterns, but don't hesitate to call us up and ask us questions. We're happy to explain anything. Some of these do have some new stitches you might not be used to. So even though the instructions are there, it might not make sense. So don't worry, give us a call. We're happy to help. I like, these are the ones you can, you can do the typical around the shoulders and the back. I always love to do these like this. I think especially with that. Ooh, look at that fringe. I love that fringe. And it's got these nice twirly little ends with your fringe. Very fun. Again,
That's
it's
piece.
Yeah, it's a really cool piece. It's big, but because it's this Alma, it is light as a, light as a bubble. Really nice and drapey, not heavy at all. It'll squish down. You can, shove it in your backpack. Although maybe I wouldn't, because you don't want to mistreat your beautiful shawl. So yeah, that one's. And there are, like I said, there are 3 colors for this. If you'd like help choosing colors, I didn't make kits for this one. But if you would like help choosing colors, we are happy to do that. We love playing with color. So we will do that. What they did for this one is they did 1 variegated and 2 semi-solids. So there you go.
And all the other patterns except for the Vulcan are all on our website.
Yes, yes, thank you. There, you can find them on our website. This is the other one that has a I-cord edge, right? No, it must be something else. Anyway, this is a cool pattern too. This is a little thinner. It's got length, which is nice for wrapping. And I love how the crescent ones twirl at the ends like that. It's neat. So when they're just hanging in your front, they're kind of twirly. So we've got, again, playing with color, but in a nice, simple way. So these are stripes. You've got garter stripes there. And then this is a fun little stitch. I believe it's called a right twist and a left twist. And it's not tricky. You just gotta, you're just moving some stitches back and forth, knitting into one and then the other. I like this one. 2 colors, 2 skeins. Let's make sure oh, you probably want to know the name of it. Syringa. Yep. 1 skein of each color. They don't tell you how many colors, but it's 2. Top down crescent. Very fun piece.
That's great. It's another unique piece.
Yeah, and it really shows how simple it, because this is just garter stripes, which is nice, relaxing knitting. And then you just throw in these little panels, and I like how they change directions. And you've got a simple one here. Just kind of spice it up, and it takes a simple garter scarf up a notch, which is neat. I like that. That's the
It's very Frank Lloyd Wright looking.
Yeah, very architectural, right? And it makes me think of little feathers too. I think the shape and the little darts, it's a little light and airy. I gotta put that on backwards, but there you go. That's the versatility of it, right? So that's it for my models, right? I had another model. It's called the Linden. I made kits for it. It accidentally got sent to another shop. So I will show you on the website, and then we'll show you the kits for it as well. This, can we make it big? Make it big. Oh, we'll just go here. Oh, wait, here's all the pictures. We'll do this one. So this is, it's a free pattern. So you're welcome to grab this pattern anytime you like. And this is a very traditional top-down triangle. So very straightforward. You can see it's just yarn overs down the spine, which is nice. They did, and again, I riffed off what they originally did with their model and took that idea and ran with my own colorways. So they did a variegated color here and went for a fairly high contrast color for along the edge. And this is just, these are, I believe it's a stockinette background and garter ridges and slip stitches to make this really graphic, yeah, again, almost, some city Frank Lloyd Wright type stuff. Actually, I would see this more of city Frank Lloyd Wright's making fancy houses in the forest. It's very architectural, and that high contrast makes it stand out. So you do want something kind of high contrast. You could easily bleed one into the other and make this subtle. It's up to you. But I did some high contrast ones. And so that's a, wear it standard as a triangle shawl over your shoulders. Cross it in the front like this. I like that this point kind of comes down nice. And you've got this nice band garter stitch. So it all lays flat for you. You can see some better up close, those slip stitches and those garter ridges. So that'll give you some extra added texture. Another little close-up detail.
It's great how I love how the variegated pokes out through the little windows.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and so it creates, so this is garter and the little background color is stockinette. So yeah, there's a lot of texture and pop there. Yeah.
It looks like you've done a lot of color work.
Yeah. But it's not. You're fooling everybody. It's super easy. So there's our model color. Again, I named these after revolutionary and pioneering women throughout history. So we did Angela Davis, Simone de Beauvoir, Judith Butler, Kimberly Crenshaw, Gloria Steinem, and Susan B. Anthony, and Betty Friedan. And then there is one limited edition kit that uses that Espiritu that I talked about earlier. And so that will only last as long as we have, as long as we have the so it is a true limited edition. This is the original model color. Angela. So again, this will be your background variegated color. This is going to be your solid contrast. And so I was playing and informed by the colors in this skein, but still trying to get a decent amount of contrast so that it will pop against and won't fade in places where they kind of bleed together. Simone. I think this one would be really nice. The original had this color lighter than the base, and I kind of like the idea of the base being darker and really standing out. Judith, again, we're back to the darker background and then the lighter pop. Either way, we're going for high contrast. Kimberly, this one was fun. I love this color. I had to make something with this color. And even though these look close, this is actually a yellow and this is a melon that does stand out nicely against this as a whole. Gloria, hopefully she would approve of these colors. I don't know. Again, I wanted to use this great enthusiastic color. Actually, it might even be called enthusiasm. I forget, or positivity. I think this one is called positivity. And against this beautiful, lush, dark background with these interesting colors lighter in there. I think that's a really interesting skein for what they did with it. Susan B. Anthony. I don't know if they even had these colors in Susan B. Anthony's time, but I feel like she'd be okay with it. And I liked taking this really bright, fun color that maybe some people might be nervous about and toning it down and making it a little more sophisticated with this nuanced charcoal that they have. So I think that would be a fun way to, stick your toe in the rainbow, so to speak.
Yeah. Bill.
This is Betty. So we've got that beautiful oceanic colorway, and this is a bit tonal, but still it's light enough to have a good contrast. Very subtle. These blues and greens are going to go with everything. Very natural, very coastal, tropical. I like that one. And here's our limited edition colorway. Beautiful, all these beautiful fun colors, and I love it paired with this minty green. As always, if there's a color you like and you don't like any of my kits, just pop 2 colors in your cart and add the pattern, and we can make your own kit, or call us up, tell me your favorite color is such and such, and I'll make you a kit for that one. So yeah, play with color, have fun, make yarn, make patterns, buy yarn, make patterns, whatever you want to say. I did some, like I said, I did some color stories here to give you some ideas. These ones, they don't show up there because they're just so dark and moody. But I think this color is beautiful. I love this one. It's this deep teal. Ooh, it's delicious. It's almost indigo. It's really nice. And I wanted to make a kit out of yellow. I don't know, the yellow is everybody's cup of tea, so I didn't do it. I would love to make someone a kit with this beautiful ochre. I think it's gold and delicious, and I love it. And if you're into autumn colorways, I can find you something. I mean, look at this. Oh, yeah, do it.
Yeah, that would make a great linden, I think.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you can definitely have fun. And I love that all of these, yeah, they're intended to kind of play with color in that sense. They want you to mix and match and explore the different things. And then, you know, this is just fun and wacky. I love all that. So that's Alma. I think hopefully I covered the bases. Do we have any questions? Do we want to see any models up close? Talk about the yarns. You want me to pull a specific color scheme? Any questions? Any ideas? Any thoughts? Comments?
The bottom half of that shawl that we just looked at, what is that stitch that puts the light color over the dark?
Oh, so it's a slip stitch. So what you're doing is as you get, well, you'll do it for 2 rows, but so you've got a line of, I'll use this as a large example. So here you've got this line, we'll say it's 2 rows of your first color, and then you're knitting along in your second color, right? Well, you're going to, instead of knitting this stitch, you're going to slip it from your left hand needle to your right hand needle without knitting it. So it's going to drag that color up, and it's going to stand, you know, sentinel in between your new color. And so you'll knit along, and then on your way back, instead of knitting that stitch that you pulled up, you're just going to pull it up again. And you, so yeah, so it's a slip, it's called a slip stitch.
Yeah,
and you're
right.
just
So
moving
it's
it
not,
from,
it's not as much on top of it as it looks. It really looks like it's almost dimensional, above the other knitting.
right, and it's just, it
It's
kind
just,
of is, but not really. Yeah, it's just kind of pulled up. I'm trying to think if we have, these are slightly different. I don't think any of these actually have a true slip stitch in them. They have these fancier stitches, but it's kind of, let's see if you can see this. It's such a tiny yarn, it's hard to see the details. But yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, it just kind of, yeah, you're moving. It's just a tiny little slip behind, you know, so you can see the green yarn is carried behind. Possibly you can see it. The green yarn is carried behind the purple, and you're just moving that, yeah, just moving that purple stitch from the left needle to the right needle without working it. And so it just pulls it up into that new row of your new color. It's invading.
And it's interesting. I was especially looking at that with the linden. The darker colors really recede, and the brighter colors come forward.
Way.
Yeah, it really makes things pop. Let's get back here and look at this picture. And let's get a close up.
I was wondering when I was looking at if I had, you might do it the other way around, where you'd carry where the darker one would be on top of the lighter one below it.
Right. So if your contrast color is darker and your background color is lighter, yeah, it's gonna pop in a different way. But the way it frames it, and that's why you kind of want that high contrast to make it really stand out. Like I said, you can do a kind of subtle fading where they're very complementary and close to, and it'll just be a subtle contrast. But yes, if you do this high contrast, it's really going to make these little rectangles pop. Make it very graphic. Yeah.
That's very nice.
Yeah, it's a neat piece. So yeah, you can see these little stitches. They're just little slip stitches. They just got dragged up from their row and connected to this row. They never got knit with this color. Yeah. That's a slip stitch.